Islamic cleric Muhammadu Nuru Khalid has been suspended over what is tagged an anti-government sermon. Did he in any way err? And the Action Democratic Party, ADP, has reacted to the Abuja-Kaduna train attacks, saying that the APC federal government is plagued with incompetence and corruption. We speak with the party's national chairman on the program tonight. This is Past Politics, and I'm Kofi Batels. The Chief Imam of the Apo Legislative Quarters Juma'at Mosque, Abuja, Alhaji Nuru Khalid, has been suspended after stating in his sermon last Friday that the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari had failed. Yes, Khalid had in his sermon lambasted the government for its inability to effectively tackle the country's security situation and called on the electorate not to vote for any politician who cannot guarantee the safety of life and property in Nigeria. Now, the People's Democratic Party, the opposition party, however, criticized the move, insisting that the suspension of the cleric was evidence that the Buhari regime was repressive. But the party also said it was obvious that Nigeria had returned to the days of Decree 4, when it was a crime to make any public speech criticizing or embarrassing the government. Now, joining us to look at this is Emmanuel Onwubiko, who is a national coordinator of the Human Rights Association of Nigeria. But before he comes in, let's quickly take a recap of that sermon delivered by Sheikh Muhammadu Nuru Khalid.
Yes, we are going to vote in 2023, but under condition that there must be security in Nigeria. Period to that, we are not going out to vote anything. If that's the only language you understand, we're going to speak it. Because our lives are important. We are people, we want to live, and our dignity is important as well. Our wealth is important. Every part and bit of us is important. Therefore, you must do something to scare our life and to make our security workable. We can't afford to be moving like this. People bombing our trains, killing our people, kidnapping our people as if there is no government in the country. They can gather information, they can gather intelligence information, they can dispatch information, they can dispatch intelligence information as if they are government of their own. While our government cannot share intelligence information and stop the rubbish on our ways, we can't afford it. I said it, we can't afford it. We need something better than this. And we deserve that thing better than this. We're going to pray. But we have to tell you the truth. That corruption is everywhere. That is why we are seeing this. And you have to do something about it. And you, the citizens, have to start.
All right, Mr. Onwubiko, thanks for joining us. Well, of course, as you had quite a passionate sermon and exhortation to Nigerians from the Imam of that Apo Legislative Quarters Juma'at Mosque, Sheikh Muhammadu Nuru Khalid. Emmanuel Onwubiko, what are your thoughts on the, first of all, on the sermon and the content of that sermon?
Thank you very much. There is nothing much in what the Islamic cleric said that is outside of the realities of our time. He was just being very frank and straight to the point. And I think what he's actually saying is that government has a statutory obligation to protect Nigerians. And any government that goes contrary to that legal obligation, that government loses her legitimacy to govern. So I think he's just saying something that is commonsensical, you know? And it's quite unbelievable that some people will take offense at such a very objective statement from that respected, cleric.
What are your thoughts on the reasons given by the Apo Legislative Quarters Mosque Committee, led by a member of the National Assembly, saying that he's expected not to engage in any rhetoric that is political, and that they suspended him on the 2nd of April this year, but he has not shown any remorse, and therefore they were disengaging his services. Do you think that such a reason is strong enough to disengage the services of such a person in society, a religious leader? Because some would say, you have a platform which has people from all sides, so probably you should not be political if you're occupying such a platform.
I'm actually surprised, maybe because I'm a practicing Roman Catholic, and as a human rights activist, first and foremost, as somebody who believes in God, and somebody who also attends a worship center, I don't understand how the worshippers will now tell the preacher what to tell them. It doesn't. It doesn't sound very logical. It's like somebody going to a mosque in Saudi Arabia and telling the imam of that mosque in Saudi Arabia that, please, I don't want you to talk about the threat of terrorists in Nigeria. I don't want to talk about this or that issue. It sounds very. I don't really get it. I don't get it. It's inexplicable. That you expect a preacher to be a puppet. The pulpit is not for puppeteering. The pulpit is not a place where you manipulate a machine and you dictate to the machine what to say. It's like that garbage in, garbage out. No, that's not what it is. It's a human institution where the person who is in charge and who is supposed to deliver sermon is expected to exercise his discretion and say what he believes is something that is quite wrong in the society, or he goes into theological interpretation of the affairs affecting the citizens of that country, because religion cannot be practiced outside of the society. Religion is part of the civil society.
Okay.
And whatever happens in the society must be discussed in any religious gathering. Otherwise, it's no longer a religious worship. Okay. It becomes a political meeting.
Interesting. And Mr. Onwubiko, so you are saying that other parts of things that affect society must be discussed. Otherwise, it's no longer a religious meeting, but a political meeting. But some would argue that if you go political at a religious gathering where people are going to pray to Allah to forgive their sins, Allah to bless them, that if you turn it into a political a meeting where you have political talk and you're criticizing the government, then that rather is when the meeting becomes political, because there are people who support the government, there are people who are against the government, and therefore, in order not to take sides, you just lead them in prayer and tell them what the scripture says, and that's it.
If by saying the truth amounts to taking sides, then you have chosen the right path. If you take sides with the truth, why should anybody persecute you or begin to criticize you because you have chosen the path of truth? If you remove truth from religion, it is no longer religion. And there's no how you expect a preacher, whether it is organized religion or unorthodox, you don't expect the person to get there and start preaching without making references to the security situation that affects himself and the people that come to that religious institution to gather. It doesn't make sense at all. I mean, it's a fallacy.
Okay. All right. Mr. Onwubiko, let's look at the statement and some parts of the statement from the Apo Legislative Quarters Central Mosque Committee. This is a committee that administers the mosque and, of course, oversees the mosque. And they wrote to Imam Nuru Khalid on the 4th of April 2022. And, of course, even though in the letter they wrote 4th of April 2023, and some people are pointing out to say maybe somebody who signed that letter was thinking about 2023. But this is what they said. We regret to inform you that from today, the 4th of April 2023, should have been 2022, you have been disengaged from the services of the above mentioned mosque. This action is occasioned by the non-remorseful attitude you exhibited following your suspension on the 2nd of April this year. That's 2 days prior. They went on to say in the third paragraph, unfortunately, your media reaction to the suspension creates the impression that you are not remorseful, not to talk of humbly reflecting on the consequences of your utterances. Leadership demands a great sense of responsibility. If our words do more harm than good to the larger interests of the country or the public, we have a responsibility to maximum restraint for the good of the public. It is obvious, however, that you don't seem to modify your Friday sermons to be reflective of the volatility of the security situation in the country. So what the committee is saying, Mr. Onwubiko, from what you heard me read out, is that the imam ought to have shown some remorse and probably toned down his rhetoric because of the volatility of the security situation in the country in order not to stir up anything. And you know that, I don't know, I'm not trying to conjecture here, but I'm thinking that they're thinking about the power that these imams wield, to stir up people into action. What do you say to that?
Well, as far as Nigerians are concerned, nobody would have even heard that one mosque in a very small area of Abuja that the preacher said so and so. How many people attend the mosque? That mosque is one of the smallest mosques that you have in Abuja. There are so many big mosques that you have in the Federal Capital Territory. I think that particular mosque, I go through there like 5 times or 6 times every day. Is a mosque that is not even recognizable. It's not a mosque that you will pass and see. It's not very conspicuous. It's one of the smallest mosques. Maybe it's just the time and I don't know how to call it. Maybe it's the way that God has decided to elevate that preacher. Maybe because he has chosen the path of being brutally honest and he has chosen to speak truth to power. So maybe God has decided to kind of elevate him to a very high pedestal. Because some of you who operate from the southwest, or people who operate from outside of the north, or even those who stay in the north who are not very conversant with Abuja, when they begin to hear about Apo Legislative Quarters, they think it's a very giant, very big place. Apo Legislative Quarters is not even up to Prince and Princess. estate. It's not even up to one estate. It's just a very tiny part of the small part of Abuja. You understand? So that tells you that the truth is always constant. Because the man spoke the truth, and the kind of place he spoke the truth happens to be a very tiny place, in as much as the place has a very big name, you know. It's Apo Legislative Quarters. It's a place where legislators used to stay in those days. And mind you, that place is no longer, I don't think that place should be appropriately called legislative quarters.
But
because
Mr.
most of those houses...
I know about legislative quarters. It's not that small, you know. It's not tiny. If you want to look at the size of the estate compared to other estates in Abuja, it's not as tiny, you know. I don't know if tiny will be an appropriate way to... I've gone from the beginning of the legislative quarters to the back, where you have a cemetery, you know, and it's not tiny, you know. I don't know if I'm right to say that. But, I mean, let's take what you're saying. I mean, some will say that the sermon went far. You can see that it's on the internet, even as far as going to the social media or networking site, TikTok, you know. So in this day and age of technology, your sermon can go far. In fact, they said that the imam is an influencer, so his words carry a lot of weight. And they said his words can make or mar a situation. And says your words can be taken advantage of by mischief makers, those responsible for these security challenges or enemies of the country for their devilish agendas. So people could be stirred up, say, the imam is saying this. Let's rise up. Let's go and burn some places and all that. I mean, so I want you to address the power of technology. The power of technology. He calls himself the digital imam. So he uses technology to spread his message.
The message the man gave is very, very, very clear and straightforward. The message he gave is that if you have a government in place, I don't know whether you're really even understanding what I'm saying.
Yeah, I do, but I'm only presenting, I'm only presenting the position of the mosque committee, saying that his statements could incite people to violence or to be used by mischief makers for violent acts. So asking him to tamper, you know, and to moderate his statements so as not to make an already volatile situation in the country more volatile.
They are wrong. Well, they are wrong. What is going to make a volatile situation to become more violent is when you cover the truth. It's not when you say the truth. The people that have been killed, are they all senators? The majority of the people who are facing this attack are ordinary people, common people like us. Are the same people that the politicians will come to ask them to vote for them. So what is wrong in asking them to ensure that those who come to canvass for vote are ready to be accountable to the people? I don't understand how people... By the way, the man that even signed that message, is he still a senator? I don't think that man is even a senator. That's what I'm telling you. That Apo legislative quarter is just getting a name that is inappropriate, because legislators don't all live in that place any longer. It has actually been devalued. It's no longer Apo legislative quarters that used to be when some of us came into this town in 1998. So many of those houses have been sold. So the houses have been sold to ordinary traders in Wusu market. So I think those people who signed that statement, they're actually looking for appointment, maybe board appointment from the president, because they understand that the president is the kind of person who doesn't like anybody to criticize him.
So are you saying that, because I mean it won't be fair. I don't know if it will be fair for you to link the president to this. I mean, he didn't order the suspension and subsequent disengagement of this imam, did he? So would it be fair for you or anyone to link President Muhammadu Buhari to this incident when he doesn't even know the imam? I don't know if he knows him.
Anybody in Abuja who wants anything from this government in the last 7 years, it is a very notorious fact that if you want any kind of appointment or you want any kind of opening to begin to enjoy any kind of privilege politically, you have to be a great singer. This government does not tolerate criticism.
Emmanuel Onwubiko, can you give me an example of what you're referring to? Maybe one person who became a praise singer or sacked someone or exposed someone or went against someone just to do what we call in Nigeria eye service for President Muhammadu Buhari and was given an appointment. Do you have such an example so that we can understand better?
Yes, exactly. I think somebody somewhere is trying to make some kind of political gains.
No, I'm asking. I'm saying to prove your point that President Buhari easily gives appointments to people who do undertake such actions so that they can gain his favor. Is there any case in point that you'd like to refer us to, just to buttress what you're saying?
Oh, okay. Maybe you're not the long you said in Nigeria. Otherwise, even the one that happened only about 2 days ago, you should have been aware of it.
Which one are you referring to?
The Minister of Transportation and the Governor of Kaduna State, gave a critic of the attack that happened in Kaduna. And the man who was railroaded and imposed as the national chairman of the APC quickly fired back at them and said, "Are you going to use a knife to cut through your stomach?" You understand? So this is a government that does not tolerate criticism.
No, but sir, if you would, the national chairman of the APC, Abdullahi Adam, already has a position. But you are talking about people who are outside of the administration who see any opportunity to pull someone down or to criticize someone, to speak against someone, or to block them, or to disengage them if they speak up against this government, just so that they can gain the favor of the government. That President Buhari delights in giving appointments to people after they've proven themselves as loyal by, pulling down or exposing or criticizing people who oppose him or call him out. So I'm saying, give us an example of someone who was outside of government and did what the Apo Mosque Committee has done, okay, and then the president said, you've been able to, shut the mouth of someone who was criticizing me, take an appointment. So, I mean, you're saying the president has that as a habit. He does that habitually. So, to buttress your point, because I'm searching for, can you give me one person who has been able to gain an appointment from Buhari purely because of that?
In fact, for me, I think even spending the time of the public discussing this matter, a matter that doesn't really, it doesn't appear really, logical. It's just time wasting. So, but the issue is this: it is because of the fact that we are confronted with a bunch of people who have been elected into government and who believe that they cannot be criticized.
Mr. Emmanuel Onwubiko, you're still not, Mr. Onwubiko, you're still not getting the question or answering. I'm asking you, because you made a statement. You said on this program, that the reason why, you were sure the reason why whoever was in charge of that committee authorized and wrote that letter to the Imam, Muhammadu Nuru Khalid, did that was because he wants to get an appointment from President Buhari. That is what the president does. Dishes out appointments to whoever can prove themselves loyal by shutting down someone who is vocal against the president or the administration. And I'm asking you to give us a case in point, sir, and you have not yet done that. And we're running out of time. So, sir,
you don't expect me
can you give? Otherwise, it'll be a false allegation.
Appointment through sycophancy. It doesn't really. I mean, something just happened yesterday, and if somebody's going to look for appointment, is it something he comes to the newspapers to begin to resolve, or maybe go to TV?
You sound so sure. And will it be fair? Will it be fair for you, sir? You're the coordinator of Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria. Would it be fair? Wouldn't you be trampling on the rights and the image of the president to make such an accusation on his person without backing it up with facts. Because this is international TV. It's going all over the world. So please give me your facts and tell me who the president has appointed simply because, yes, I need an example from you, sir.
Duty and obligation to protect the citizens. What image are you talking about? We're talking about the fact that people are being killed like chickens in this country, and you're talking about image. What is image?
No,
what image do you have again?
You've made an allegation against someone. It could be anybody. I don't care whether it's Buhari or not. But my job, sitting on this chair, is to make sure that we put out facts. And such a statement could be damaging. It could be you, Mr. Onwubiko, tomorrow. So I'm asking you, if you say the president gives out appointments to people who shut down those who are vocal against his administration, and that's why whoever wrote that letter and signed it did that so that they can get an appointment from the president, because that's what he does. Give us an example of who has gotten an appointment from Buhari because of such an action.
My friend, I don't understand this kind of autopilot media practice that the young journalists are doing these days. You don't expect me to begin to point to the fact that these are the reasons why politicians give appointments. It's a very notorious fact in Abuja. You don't even need to know anybody in government.
Give me one example. Emmanuel, you can't give me even one example. You can't give me one example.
You must be 100% loyal to the person they call their leader or the person they call the father of the party.
And I asked for one example. Emmanuel, I asked for one example.
It's just common sense. You don't need me to begin to tell you. I think the problem we have in Nigeria,
it's not common sense.
Right now,
it's an accusation. So give me one example, just one.
Have you seen the appointment that was made in the National Communications Commission? Have you seen the names of people that got appointments, including a spokesperson of one of the security agencies in Nigeria? Are they supposed to be there? All the board appointments that have been made in the last 7 years, all the boards in different parastatals, different government institutions in Nigeria, are they all the kinds of appointments that you expect that an elected president who is supposed to govern the country democratically should make? You go and take a look at all the appointments that he has made. The appointments are there for you to see. You don't need people to tell you that. I'm not giving you the one that has just been made, where the spokesperson of the Department of State Security was made a board member of a National Broadcasting Commission. Is that how an appointment should be? National Broadcasting Commission, then you have a spokesperson of an arm of the security services joining the board, governing board of a council that should design the policy of how media broadcasting should be, when Section 22 of the Nigerian Constitution clearly spells out the duty of the media. And you're asking me to tell you the people that have been appointed.
Mr. Onwubiko, I'm afraid you've not been able to answer the question, but you've made a strong case. Though you've not answered the question, but I appreciate you making a strong case.
Into the
all right, sir.
Board of the National Broadcasting Commission.
All right, sir. So before we go, thank you. Before we go, what would you say should happen going forward? Would you like to see more, clerics, clergymen, even from other faiths like Christianity, be this vocal about the situation of things in the country?
Let me tell you, everybody knows that the casualty in Nigeria right now is the truth. Politicians don't want people to tell them the truth. And you don't need to ask a civil rights activist to tell you if the things that are going on in this country are whether they are right or wrong. Or you don't need to justify an action of a bunch of people who sat down somewhere.
I'm not justifying their actions. I'm only trying to balance. Sir, there's something called balance in journalism. If you say that they did it simply to get an appointment and that's what the president does, I have to balance things out. But I guess what you're saying, I think we can both agree that you're saying that more clerics need to speak out about the situation of things in the country and not keep quiet about it. I believe that's what you're saying, sir.
What I'm saying is that the government that we have in place right now, they have really damaged so many things. They have damaged even the aspect of having Nigerians express their opinion in the media. They now tell the media houses, these are the areas that you have to talk about. These are the people you have to invite. Man, I have never seen this kind of government ever in my life.
Okay, so are you saying that the federal government is telling media houses who to invite?
Of course.
Okay,
of course.
all right. We'll leave it at that.
Telling the media houses
we'll leave it at that.
That you cannot speak with the spokesperson of the, for instance, IPOP.
All right, we have to go.
Spoke with the spokesperson of IPOP. Channel was fine.
All right, Emmanuel, we have to go.
I mean, not channels. The Cross TV. Cross TV spoke with a leader of one of the Northwest terrorist group that is a wanted terrorist in this country. Just spoke with him about, I think, Malam Tuji or whatever I call him, about 2 weeks ago, and no action was taken against that particular media establishment because it is owned by people who are from the north.
Emmanuel, because we have to go. We have to go. We certainly should have this conversation at some other time. But I want to appreciate you for doggedly answering the question and, of course, giving me your excellent delivery. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Emmanuel Onwubiko is the National Coordinator of the Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria. Thanks for staying with us. We'll take a short break now. When we return, the ADP, a political party in Nigeria, joins us to tell us about their plans ahead of the 2023 elections and, of course, the state of the nation and what they think about it. Stay with us.